What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Jays Central, your #1 destination for all things Blue Jays baseball. We've got some breaking developments coming out of spring training camp that you absolutely need to know about. And trust me, this is going to shake up everything we thought we knew about Toronto's rotation heading into the season. Before we dive deep into this story, make sure you hit that like button right now. Seriously, if you're a Blue Jays fan, that like button helps us bring you more content just like this. And drop a comment below telling me your honest thoughts on what's happening with this pitching staff. Are you worried? Are you confident? Let me know your take down in the comments section. So here's the situation that's unfolding right now in Dunedin. The Blue Jays organization has been navigating some choppy waters this entire offseason when it came to figuring out who would take those 5 crucial starting pitcher spots. The front office made some serious moves, bringing in Dylan Cease, which was a massive acquisition that got everyone talking. They also signed Cody Ponce to add some additional depth to what was already looking like a pretty solid rotation featuring Kevin Gausman, Shane Bieber, and the young gun Trey Yesevich. But here's where things got complicated, and this is the part that a lot of people have been wondering about since last season ended. Jose Berrios has been in this weird limbo situation, and it all stems from what happened during the World Series run. Let me take you back to that moment, because it's important context for understanding where we are today. Berrios made the decision to leave the team during their playoff push, and it wasn't because of an injury or a family emergency. The veteran pitcher was genuinely upset about being left off the active playoff roster after getting moved to the bullpen role during the final stretch of the regular season. That's a tough pill to swallow for any professional athlete, especially someone with Berrios' track record and pride in their craft. His name started circulating in trade discussions throughout the winter, with various teams reportedly showing interest in acquiring his services. However, the Blue Jays management decided against pulling the trigger on any deal involving him. Now we're getting into the meat of this story, and this is where that like button becomes really important, folks. Hit it now if you haven't already, because we're about to break down exactly what this means for the team's immediate future. As spring training facilities opened their gates and players started reporting for duty, Berrios received some unexpected but welcome news. Shane Bieber, who was supposed to be one of the anchors of this starting rotation, is going to miss the beginning of the season. According to Blue Jays beat reporter Ben Nicholson-Smith, the organization is planning for Bieber to start the campaign on the injured list due to right forearm fatigue. Manager John Schneider confirmed that while Bieber is feeling good overall and has been playing catch, his ramp-up schedule will extend past opening day. The situation is being described as week to week, which means there's no definitive timeline for when he'll take the mound in a game that counts. This development completely changes the dynamic for Berrios. Instead of potentially being the odd man out or facing an uncertain role, he's now got a golden opportunity to claim one of those 5 rotation spots and prove that last season's struggles were just a temporary setback. Let's talk about those numbers from last season because they tell an interesting story. Berrios finished with a 9-5 record across 31 appearances, with 30 of those being starts. His earned run average sat at 4.17, which isn't terrible by any means, but it's also not the elite-level performance that he's capable of delivering when he's at his absolute best. The Blue Jays organization and their fans are hoping that with a full offseason to reset mentally and physically, we're going to see a much sharper, more effective version of Berrios when he takes that mound. Before we continue breaking down this situation, I want to see that engagement from you. Go ahead and smash that like button if you're still watching, and more importantly, drop your prediction in the comments. Do you think Berrios is going to bounce back and have a solid season? Or are you concerned that last year's performance might carry over? Your opinion matters, so share it down below. Let's build a conversation in that comment section. Now let's address the elephant in the room. The situation that created all this tension between Berrios and the organization in the first place. After getting left off the playoff roster last season, Berrios wasn't just disappointed, he was visibly upset with how everything went down. The pitcher made the choice to leave the team during their postseason run, and people definitely noticed his absence. He wasn't in the clubhouse celebrating with his teammates, he wasn't on the bench cheering them on, and that raised quite a few eyebrows around the baseball world. Some people criticized him for not being there to support his brothers, while others understood his frustration at being excluded from such an important moment. Manager John Schneider recently opened up about this delicate situation during a press conference on Tuesday, and his comments shed some light on how both sides are viewing what happened. Schneider characterized the incident as heat-of-the-moment stuff, which suggests that emotions were running high, and perhaps not everyone made the choices they would have made with cooler heads prevailing. He pointed out that Berrios was on the injured list and wasn't pitching for the team during that period anyway, so the organization didn't really address the situation in real time because their focus was entirely on trying to win the championship. That makes sense from a practical standpoint. You don't want distractions when you're in the middle of a World Series run. But here's what's encouraging for Blue Jays fans moving forward. Schneider indicated that the situation has been properly handled now that everyone has had time to decompress and reflect. He mentioned that Berrios himself realizes things probably could have been managed a little bit differently on his end, and the organization acknowledges they might have approached certain aspects differently as well. According to Schneider, Berrios showed up to camp as his normal self, ready to work and compete. The pitcher has apparently had the necessary conversations with teammates and staff members that needed to happen, and everyone involved wants to move past this chapter and focus on the season ahead. That's the kind of mature resolution you want to see when dealing with conflict in a professional setting. Make sure you're liking this breakdown, folks, because we're giving you all the details that matter for understanding where the Blue Jays stand right now. And seriously, those comments help the algorithm show this content to more Blue Jays fans, so don't be shy about sharing your thoughts below. Berrios is walking into camp with something to prove. He's got motivation to show that he's still an effective, reliable starting pitcher who can contribute to winning baseball. This season, he's scheduled to earn $19 million, which is significant money that comes with significant expectations. There's also an interesting wrinkle in his contract situation. He has a player opt-out clause after the conclusion of the 2026 season. That means his performance over these next couple years could directly impact his financial future and his next contract negotiation. All right, we're in the home stretch here, but before we wrap this up, I need to see that engagement one more time. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your biggest concern or your biggest reason for optimism about this Blue Jays pitching staff, and let's finish strong together. Your participation makes this channel better for everyone. Even though the news about Bieber's injury isn't what the organization wanted to hear, there's actually a silver lining here that shouldn't be overlooked. The Blue Jays have built themselves some legitimate starting pitching depth, which is exactly what you need to survive the grind of a full season. Schneider confirmed during his media availability that the team has a plan to stretch out multiple pitchers to ensure they have options beyond just their primary 5 starters. The rotation as currently constructed features Cease, Gaussman, Ponce, and Yesevich as locks, with Berrios now sliding into that 5th spot due to Bieber's absence. But it doesn't stop there. The organization is also planning to stretch out Eric Lauer as a starting pitcher to provide additional depth and flexibility. Lauer gives them another experienced arm who can eat innings if someone gets hurt or needs a breather. Schneider specifically mentioned that he watched Berrios throw recently and came away very encouraged by what he saw, which is exactly the kind of positive report you want heading into the season. The manager also expressed hope that Bieber won't be far behind once his rehab process is complete, meaning the team could potentially have 6 legitimate starting pitching options once everyone is healthy. Here's where it gets even more interesting from a depth perspective. Schneider pointed out that the Blue Jays find themselves in a unique position where a significant portion of their pitching depth is actually on the 26-man roster rather than scattered throughout the minor league system. That's a luxury not every team has, and it speaks to the quality of the organization's off-season moves and player development. Beyond the major league roster, Toronto also has a couple of highly regarded young prospects who are working their way back from injuries. Ricky Tiedemann and Jake Bloss are both talented arms who could potentially contribute starts later in the season if their rehabilitation processes go according to plan. The combination of established veterans, recent acquisitions, and emerging young talent creates a scenario where the Blue Jays have multiple pathways to success with their pitching staff. If Berrios can rediscover his form from previous seasons, if Bieber returns healthy and effective, if the young guys continue developing, and if the newcomers perform as expected, this could end up being one of the stronger rotations in the league. Obviously, there are question marks and uncertainties. That's always the case in baseball, but the pieces are there for something special to happen. So what's the bottom line here? Berrios is getting an opportunity he might not have had if everyone stayed healthy. He's got motivation to prove doubters wrong. He's apparently worked hard during the offseason, and the organization is giving him a legitimate chance to be part of the starting rotation. The situation from last season appears to be resolved, with both sides acknowledging mistakes and moving forward professionally. The Blue Jays have built themselves enough pitching depth to weather some early season adversity with Bieber's delayed start. And if things break right over the next few months, this team could have the kind of pitching staff that makes them legitimate contenders. Before you go, one final reminder to hit that like button and leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about this entire situation? Are you Team Berrios, or were you hoping they'd trade him? How worried are you about Bieber's forearm issue? Let me know everything you're thinking down below. Thanks for watching Jays Central, and we'll see you in the next one with more Blue Jays coverage.